Alex ANTLE, welcome.
Nice to finally meet you.
Yes, nice to finally meet you. I've been keeping up with you on socials.
Yep.
Who are you? What's your experience? You're a DJ. Introduce yourself to the pod.
Yeah. So Alex ANTLE, I'm 22 years old. EDM DJ and about 1 year as a producer, which we can get into later.
Yeah, definitely
a lot different than DJing. But yeah, so 22 years old, been DJing for about three and a half years.
And you were telling me about a cool story that happened at Tangra, or was it not at Tangra? It was at Show Bar.
Show Bar, yeah. I mean, that's kind of how I got my foot in the door and kind of on the map. I played my first show. I was a duo back then, actually. And we went by Dozy Boys. It was one of my best friends, Freddie. And we ended up going our separate ways, but he's a promoter now for Tangra, actually, and he's killing it there. His Instagram page is Bangers in the Bay.
Okay.
And so he's running all the college nights for Tangra and Show Bar.
So what happened that night?
Well, yeah. So that first night at Show Bar, granted, I don't even think we really should have been up there, if I'm being honest.
When was this?
This had to have been right after COVID. I believe it was in January, like very beginning of January.
Okay, so right after COVID, it's one of the first events back.
Yeah.
Everybody's been cooped up for a long time.
Yep, and we played there. Everybody started to have the masks on and everything. Like I was DJing with a mask on.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, we played I want to say it was like a 30-minute set, nothing crazy, and we ended up packing the place out. I want to say our set was like 10 to 10:30, and we hit capacity at 10, and by 11 there was a line all the way down to the Ritz. And so kind of walked outside. I'm all pumped up. I'm like, oh yeah, we killed that. And I go up to the owner who owns Tangra and Show Bar, and I'm like, oh man, like aren't you so happy, blah blah blah. And he's like, got kind of pissed off, and he's like, you know how much money you cost me? He's like, Tangra's completely emptied out. Like, we don't really have any table sales in Tangra. And then he's like, from here on out, you guys have a residency at Tangra. You guys are at Tangra. And so kind of been there ever since.
So did you promote the show and let people know?
Yeah, for sure. And, like I said.
How did you promote it?
Just all through socials, and, had a really big friend group back then. This was like beginning of middle of sophomore year. And
now you have no friends.
Yeah, no, absolutely none. But no, joking. But the full-time DJ stuff definitely hinders it a little bit. You got to make sacrifices to.
Yeah, I was gonna say, one thing that I think about when it comes to college DJs is that, yes, it's fun to be a DJ, and yes, you actually make good money DJing, but you're also in college. You're not in college to be a DJ. You're in college, and also you are DJing.
Yeah.
So do you think that DJing sometimes gets in the way of, being a professional or getting like a quote unquote real job?
I mean, I wouldn't say that it gets in the way of it. Just because I think that if you can do school full time and DJ full time, together, that why couldn't you have a corporate job or a full time job? And still DJ, you know what I'm saying? So
yeah, I mean, listen, man, you're preaching to the choir. I'm literally a full-time attorney, and I do Graham radio
for sure.
So I think that when it comes to DJing getting in the way of being a professional and having like a quote unquote real job, if that is something that you want, I think that it really only gets in the way if you let it.
100%. I mean, if you want something bad enough, at the end of the day, you're going to make it work. But there's definitely the sacrifices you got to make to make that happen. Like, time. Like I was telling you, I was like, man, like schedule super busy, like trying to plan everything out. I'm also super OCD about everything. So try to be a perfectionist and make sure I have time for everything.
So speaking of being OCD, I want to ask you this question.
Yeah.
How do you organize your music? You've been DJing for a few years now.
Yeah.
Right. So you've been here. Let me ask the question so I can cut this up. So you've been DJing for a few years now. That makes me think that you know your way around a USB.
Oh,
like
wow, about the USB.
I'm talking. I want to hear about the crates in Record Box. So what do those look like?
So This is where it takes a turn. Yeah, I mean, I can play USB, I can play laptop, but I prefer laptop just because, you know, I never plan sets out, and I have everything. I started out in Serato, and so I kind of just stuck with it. I have record box, like I can play on USB. I just don't prefer it just because I never plan any set out. Like I always freestyle every single set, and in Serato, I've built the music library for so long that I know exactly where everything's at and have everything sorted. So like when I'm jumping around and need to find a certain track, I think it's way easier to do that with a laptop rather than USB.
So what it sounds like is you're at the point in your DJing where you feel consistently prepared. Like you don't necessarily
100%.
like if you're going to DJ at Tangra or wherever it may be, you're not like spending hours organizing and preparing music.
No, not at all. I mean, I have such a large library at this point, and I consistently add to it every single week. Every single week, I'm still doing set prep, bringing in new music, that sort of thing, switching things around. But for the most part, it's not like I have to do anything crazy.
So while you're out there, well, you know what that makes me think? I mean, you've been DJing at the same place for 3 years. You probably know how to run that place.
Oh, I know that crowd like the back of my hand.
Tell me about that crowd. How does that crowd work?
So I primarily play on Thursday nights, and then I'll play their holidays as well. But the Thursday night is all college crowd, so basically just a bunch of EDM bootlegs and stuff like that that are college sing-alongs and stuff like that.
So give me like the wave of the night. Like at 8 p.m. you show up, at 2 a.m. you leave. Give me like a play-by-play of like the type of music you're playing hour by hour.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, it opens at 9, so 9 p.m. would just be, house music, and that's kind of what I have a passion for. But, I'll play house music, and it is a younger crowd there, so I'll kind of indoctrinate them and, like, put my house music vibes onto them. They don't usually like it in the beginning of the years when they're coming in, but then by the end of the semester, end of the year, or whatever, they're loving it. So,
dude, shout out to you for doing that. The world needs DJs like you to show college kids who were unaware of house music.
Exactly, yeah. And so I'll play house music for about the first hour and a half, and then I'll kind of jump around. I'll play some future house, some electro house, some bass house, tech house, all types of different EDM genres and subgenres. I'll kind of jump around with that.
Right.
I'll even drop some heavy bass in there once in a while, switch it up. But
some country rhythm.
No, I haven't dropped that. I think that's a little too mainstream. I like to play stuff that people know, but at the same time, like the EDM remixes and bootlegs that I have, like I try to make sure it's not stuff that a lot of people have, so that my sets are differentiated. And even if I'm playing at a club and not like a big show or something, that it still stands out rather than being just stuff that a lot of DJs already play.
Right. So how did you first get into DJing?
So when I was a duo, my best friend Freddie, we were throwing house parties just, in college, and he was like, "Oh, I actually have a full DJ set and all this equipment." He's like, "It's collecting dust up north," and he's like, "I'm gonna bring it down." Had no clue how to DJ, and so we just kind of self-taught and went from there. But I have a little bit of background in music. I played bass and bass guitar when I was younger. I was actually really, really good at it, but I kind of let it go once I hit high school, just because, I don't know, I didn't want to be looked at as like the nerdy kid in high school or whatever.
Isn't that funny? And now it would be so cool if you knew how to play bass.
Yeah, I mean, I want to get back into it for sure because I was really good at it. I mean, I started in 6th grade, and I was playing first. Are you familiar with like orchestra or anything like that?
What's funny? I have a similar story. I really wanted to be in band when I was in middle school.
Yeah.
And my mom, who is super into music, said, "Oh, no, you should do," because it was either do band or do like a PE or something.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, "Damn, I really want to do band," and my mom was like, "Nah, you should not do that. Don't be like a dork walking around with your French horn."
Yeah.
But now looking back on it, I wish.
But yeah, I was in 6th grade and had just picked it up and was playing first chair for the 8th grade level orchestra.
Casual flex.
No, it came naturally to me. And then I ended up joining like the USF orchestra ensemble still in middle school, and I was really good at it. And then eighth grade came around, and
So you're from Tampa?
yeah,
Yeah,
born
okay.
and raised. And I joined like the jazz band, and that's when I picked up bass guitar. It was practically the same instrument, just bass is bass is vertical, and then bass guitar horizontal, obviously. So, but yeah, and then.
So getting into DJing.
Yeah, getting into DJing, he just brought it down, and we kind of self-taught ourselves. And funny story, Twinsick, Alex from Twinsick is actually the one who taught me how to beat match.
Okay.
He came to one of the house parties, and it was just him and some of his friends. One of my best friend's girlfriends was friends with him from home, so he just pulled up, and he was messing around on the board. I want to say it was like a DDJ SR, and I was just kind of watching him, shadowing him, and then went from there and slowly excelled once I knew how to beat match.
So I want you to give some advice to younger DJs. Like, let's say that I was an 18 or 19-year-old kid, and I wanted to learn how not just to DJ, but also to market myself as a DJ and become a resident
man.
at Tangra.
This is a tough one, just because the scene has changed so much since I first entered. I got very blessed, and I was very lucky when I first came on the scene. It was kind of before it was like a trend and like a cool thing to be a DJ. So like the market wasn't super saturated, and I kind of built my network and made all my connections right before, kind of right as DJing started blowing up on social media and like as a trend. But I mean, the biggest thing, and I even still give advice to younger DJs who are coming in, just know how to market yourself, capitalize on every gig, every opportunity that you get when it comes to media, footage, everything. And not just that, but make sure that you're bringing value. Because that's, I mean, if you want to get your foot in the door, that's the biggest thing that you can do for a club is bring value, bring out people, bring out, you know, whatever type of value that you're offering. That's how you can get your foot in the door. And, you know, I've even DJ'd for free when I first started out and was just bringing people in. That's kind of how I got my foot in the door. But yeah, I mean, that's the biggest thing. Just bring value. If you're looking for your first gig, obviously they're not going to swap you in for one of their resident DJs who's been there for years, knows how to play the crowd, unless you're, bringing in some sort of value. So that's the biggest thing I would say.
So when it comes to, because I'm sure you get hit up by aspiring DJs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do.
And I'm sure that you've been hit up in correct ways and in incorrect ways. So what is the correct way to hit you up?
I would just say be respectful and preferably do it through DMs, and then orchestrate that outside, like meet up in person after that, or come to one of my gigs, talk to me after my set, but don't be a fresh face coming up to me per se. I don't know, it's a personal preference thing for me. It's like I don't really take it as serious because there's so many people that come up to you and be like, I'm sure you've experienced this as well as, oh, I'm a DJ. Everybody and their cousin's a DJ nowadays. So, I mean, unless I have some sort of interaction with you previously to that, I'm not going to take it as serious. Whereas if, I were to get a DM and then I met you in person, then I'm like, okay, I can put a name to the face. There's a little bit of recognition there. I know that they're not just, trolling me or something. I don't know, because you deal with a lot of drunk people in the nightlife industry, obviously. So,
I mean, like the amount of people who have come up to me and said, I want to start a podcast. It's like, okay, then go and do it.
Yeah.
I'm sure that a million people have said, oh my God, I would be such a great DJ.
Oh, I've gotten that a million times. But
yeah, it's almost like in a modern art museum when you are looking at a blank canvas or a canvas that's painted freaking blue, and you say to yourself, oh, I could do that. I could do that. Okay,
Yeah.
Okay, then go and do it, bitch.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly. I mean, thankfully, I've never really had any negative interactions with, new people coming up to me.
Okay, right, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
people see you DJing, which is great, and they want what you have, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But there is something wrong with like, hey, you should have me open for you, bro.
So
versus, hey, I've been practicing so much, and I would love it if I could like shadow you one day.
Exactly. So I mean, there's definitely. I love that you said that because that just popped into my head of. You have to go about it the right way. Obviously, if you're someone lower and you're, wanting to make a name for yourself, so on and so forth, great, but do it the right way. Don't try to, quote unquote, like social climb or try to like just come in it wanting something. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of people right off the rip will be like wanting something, like a set, like opening set, or and I'm always super nice to everyone. Always give advice when I can. So on and so forth. But, if someone DMs me and they're like, hey, let me open for you or something, I'll entertain the conversation, but it's not going to be an immediate, oh, yeah, go ahead. You know what I'm saying? So.
Right. I mean, but what could make it an all right go ahead? Like, let's say, because there are factors. For example, I'm just going to use an extreme factor.
Yeah.
Let's say that you got a DM from James Hype, and James Hype said, hey, can I come open for you at Tangra?
I'd be like, that's not real, that's a bot account. But I mean, in that case, obviously, yeah, I mean, I love James Hype. Would love to.
Right. But like what I'm saying here is like, let's say that at E-Rose, at DJM, whoever, like some account, it DMs you, you've never heard of this person before, but you go on their account and it's just like a year worth of like cool transitions and talking about DJing, and like they have like good engagement on their. It's like, okay, maybe I don't know who this person is, and maybe this person is just reaching out and asking me for something, but like clearly they're committed to the culture.
Yeah, I mean, 100%. If they have some type of credibility towards them, obviously I'll take them a little more serious. Just looking at their page and stuff like that. What I look for mainly is the dedication, because that's a big thing, especially that I kind of hate with this being a trend. And we can get into the whole celebrity DJing and all that, but there's a certain level of having fun with it, or wanting the life that comes with it, the fun side of the life that comes with it, but not wanting the dedication part and not wanting to put the work in. And that's something that I kind of have a pet peeve with. So, I mean, if I see someone's dedicated and they really want to put the work and effort into, I don't care how many followers you have. Like, I will take you seriously. Like, I will, give as much advice and feedback to you as possible. But, if I just see that it's someone that's trying to play at Tangra because they think it's cool, or that they want the party lifestyle and the stuff that comes along with it, but they're not actually dedicated to the craft, then I take a little bit of a different approach. Still nice about it, but just don't take it as seriously.
Really great interview.
Thank you, brother.
Exciting stuff. I feel like we solved a bunch of issues today. What's your name? Where can people find you?
Alex Antle. All of my socials are DJ Alex Antle. Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. Don't really post on YouTube, but SoundCloud, Spotify, Apple Music. So
wonderful. Well, for the listeners, thank you so much for listening. We also, of course, are about to have an Alex Antle hour set, which is exciting. Right, hour, because you said you're on sort of a time constraint. What time is it?
Let me see. Yeah, we can do an hour.
We can do an hour. Okay, yeah. Hour set from Alex Antle. It's going to be real funky. We're going to see what he does. For the listeners, I love you. Follow Immersive Groove. Follow Graham Radio. New 2 hours of house every single week from Immersive Groove. Interviews and takeover mixes all the time. I love you. Thank you so much for listening to the podcast. Wait, before we go, we got to talk about something.
What's up?
Producing.
Yeah.
So you started producing about a year ago.
Last August, I would say. I really started dedicating myself to it. And I'm not going to lie, I hate producing.
Why do you hate producing?
I hate it.
What?
It's completely different than DJing or mixing, I would
say.
say.
Well, why do you do it then if you hate it?
Because it's needed to grow. If you want to grow outside of the local scene, you have to learn it. You have to produce. You have to put stuff out. People have to know you for your music in order to play on those bigger stages, those festivals, so on and so forth. So to grow outside of your city, I think producing is a must. I don't enjoy it, but I still do it because I think it's needed to grow.
I think it's one of those things that you'll learn to enjoy.
Yeah.
All right. Well, for the listeners, I love you. Peace.